Are you feeling totally buried by information? Yeah, you are not alone. Today, we're jumping into J.S. Lee's Smart Choice, Sharp Life. Think of it as a much-needed survival guide for all of us living in this new age of AI. And really, this one question, it cuts right to the heart of everything. We live in a world where AI can give us an answer to literally anything. So our real value isn't about knowing more stuff, it's about choosing wisely. Let's figure out how we become the masters, not the slaves of these powerful algorithms. All right, first up, we need to talk about something called the information paradox. We're going to explore this bizarre reality where having more answers is actually making us more confused. It's a weird feeling, right? We have these incredible, powerful tools at our fingertips, but making a simple, confident decision feels harder than it's ever been. We're practically drowning in answers, but we're absolutely starved for clarity. This slide just nails the change perfectly. The author tells this great story from 1986 about waiting for weeks for a single fax. That one page was like gold. Fast forward to today, and one little search unleashes a complete tsunami of data. The game has totally changed. The skill isn't finding the needle in the haystack anymore. It's about figuring out how to burn the whole haystack down. All this overload leads to what the author calls information obesity. And it's a perfect analogy. Just like eating too much junk food makes your body feel sluggish, consuming too much junk information makes our minds dull. Our judgment gets slow and foggy, and believe it or not, all that extra data actually makes our decisions worse, not better. Okay, so if that's the problem, what's the antidote to this information obesity? Well, we have to completely flip our strategy. We've got to stop trying to gather more and instead get really, really good at deleting. And the core idea for doing this is called the knowledge sieve. I want you to imagine you're panning for gold. You wouldn't try to carry the entire riverbank home, right? No, of course not. You'd use a sieve to wash away all the worthless gravel and just keep the little bits of gold. That is exactly what we need to build for our minds, a system that lets the good stuff through and throws all the noise away. So how do you actually build this thing? Well, it's a three-step process. First, you design a filter that blocks the noise from even reaching you. Second, you start using AI like a surgical scalpel, not a shovel, to just pull out the core ideas from what's left. And third, and this is the most important part, you use all that time and mental space you just saved to actually think, to let your own intuition connect the dots. Now, a good filter does more than just manage information. It actually helps us escape this classic modern trap, analysis paralysis. It's about finally learning when to stop looking and just start choosing. You might think knowing when to stop is just a gut feeling, but here's the crazy part. Mathematics gives us a surprisingly specific number for when it's time to stop analyzing and just decide. There's a real calculated sweet spot. It's called optimal stopping theory. And it might sound complicated, but the rule itself is super simple and really powerful. Whatever you're looking for, you spend the first 37% of your time, or your options, just exploring. You don't pick anything. You're just setting your standard. After that point, you commit. You pick the very next option that is better than anything you saw in that first phase. Let's make this super practical. Say you're interviewing 10 people for a job. The theory says you interview the first 4, that's roughly 37%, just to get a feel for the talent pool. You decide beforehand you're not hiring any of them. Then, starting with candidate number 5, you hire the very first person who is better than anyone from that first group. It's like giving yourself mathematical permission to stop the endless searching and finally make a move. But look, making sharp choices isn't all about math and algorithms. It's also about embracing something that we've all been trained to run away from: boredom. Just think about an airport layover. The author remembers one back in 1986 where he was just bored. And that boredom led him to scribble in a notebook and come up with new ideas. Now, contrast that with today. That same layover is jam-packed with Wi-Fi, emails, stocks, streaming shows. That empty time, what he calls productive boredom, well, that's where our brains used to do the heavy lifting of connecting ideas. And that's the real problem, isn't it? We've basically traded our most precious thinking time for an endless stream of shallow distractions. Our brains need that downtime, that empty space to turn raw information into actual wisdom. By trying to fill every single second with input, we've accidentally gotten rid of the very space we need for real insight to happen. So, This all leads us to the final and honestly the most crucial step. We have to shift from being passive consumers of information to becoming active architects of it. It's all about taking back control of your own mental world. This is the ultimate choice you have to make. Are you just going to let the recommendation algorithms decide what you think about? Or are you going to intentionally design the information environment that feeds your brain? The goal is to build a system that serves your goals, not the goals of some tech platform. And listen, this isn't just some abstract idea. It's an incredibly practical strategy. Instead of just asking your AI to summarize the news, give it a very specific filtering prompt, like this one. You're basically turning it into your personal bouncer, telling it to throw out the noise, find the essential stuff, and even push you to think more deeply about it. You're literally programming your own knowledge sieve. In the end, living a sharp life isn't about cramming more knowledge into your head. It's about creating clarity. It's about creating focus. And that can only happen when you create some empty space. It's in that quiet, focused zone, free from all the noise and distraction, that our sharpest insights and our wisest choices are born. So the real question is, what are you going to do to create that space?